Nature is all around you. Tall, green trees, beautiful mountains far in the distance, fields that stretch as far as the eye can see. Harmonies by Johann Benvenuto and Libellude ask, what sorts of animals live in these landscapes? I'm Nikki Pontius of Game Night, and I'm here with Board Game Geek. Let me show you how to play. In Harmonies, you create a miniature world in which animals live in perfect harmony with nature. Build landscapes by placing colored tokens, creating patterns known as habitats for your animals. Incorporate these habitats in your landscapes wisely and have as many animals as you can settle there. Earn the most points for landscapes and animal habitats to win the game. Harmonies, published by Libellude, is for 1 to 4 players. It plays in 30 minutes and is for ages 10 and up. Place the central board with the 2 to 4 players side up. Put all the tokens in the pouch, then place the pouch next to the central board. Fill each of the 5 spaces of the central board with 3 tokens you draw randomly from the pouch. Shuffle the animal cards and place 5 face up next to the central board. Place the rest of the cards nearby as a draw pile and place the animal cubes within reach of all players. Each player takes a personal board, and the players collectively decide which side of the board to use. All players must play the same side face up. The brown A side is recommended for your first play of the game. Each player also takes a reminder card displaying the side matching the personal board. The player to have last seen a magnificent landscape is the first player. Point the central board arrow towards them. With setup complete and the start player chosen, let's talk about what the players are trying to accomplish. Your ultimate goal is to collect and place these tokens to create specific habitats on your player board that allow you to place an animal or animals from your collected animal cards to score points. Additionally, there are points to be had from specific features: trees, mountains, fields, buildings, and a river. On a turn, there is 1 mandatory action, 2 optional actions that can be taken in any order on a player's turn. The mandatory action is to take 3 tokens from the central board and have them all placed on your player board by the end of your turn. The optional actions are to take 1 animal card from the array and/or place 1 or more animal cubes onto a habitat. First up is the mandatory action and the rules for placing tokens. Take 3 tokens from the central board. All 3 tokens must be placed on your player board by the end of your turn. A token can be placed anywhere on the board following these guidelines. It can always be placed in an empty space. It can be placed on top of 1 or 2 previously placed tokens to create trees, buildings, or mountains. No other stacking is allowed. It cannot be placed underneath a previously placed token. It cannot be placed in a space occupied by an animal cube. Let's look at creating trees, mountains, fields, buildings, and rivers. All of these features gain you points at the end of the game in addition to animals you've already placed in habitats. A tree is formed by 1 green token, placed on top of 0, 1, or 2 brown tokens to create trees of size 1 for 1 point, 2 for 3 points, or 3 for 7 points. A mountain is a stack made of 1, 2, or 3 gray tokens. Mountains only score if they are adjacent to other mountains. The height of each mountain determines the number of points you score. 1 point for a height of 1, 3 points for a height of 2, and 7 points for a height of 3. A field is formed by at least 2 yellow tokens in a contiguous group. For each field of 2 or more contiguous field tokens, you score 5 points. A building is made of 1 red token placed on top of 1 brown, gray, or red token. You score 5 points for each building, but only if it is surrounded by at least 3 tokens of different colors. It is important to point out that one of these tokens can be another red token. Only consider the top token of each adjacent space. If this criteria is not met, a building is worth 0 points. A river is a string of consecutive blue tokens. The length of the river determines the number of points you earn. Count the number of tokens from one end of the river to the other by the shortest path, ends included. You only score your best river. 0 points for 1 river token, 2 for 2 river tokens, 5 for 3 river tokens, 8 for 4 river tokens, 11 for 5 river tokens, and 15 for 6 river tokens. If the river's path continues more than 6 consecutive tokens, score 4 points in addition for each token beyond the 6th. This river would be worth 11 points. Remember, you are taking the shortest path, so this token here would not count because it is not part of the shortest path. When placing tokens, keep in mind you are not only trying to create trees, mountains, fields, buildings, and a river for points, you are also trying to create habitats. These are the patterns that you can see on the animal cards. Creating these patterns will allow you to place animals. Now to the 2 optional actions. First, you may draw 1 animal card from the array. This action can only be performed once per turn. You may only have 4 unfinished animal cards at any one time. Place the card above your player board and put the number of animal cubes indicated by the boxes on the top right of the card. The numbers under these boxes are the points gained for placing that animal. This particular animal has 3 boxes. You must place the cube with the lowest points first. If you only place 1 animal from this card by the end of the game, you will gain 4 points. If you manage to place all 3 of this animal, you will gain 15 points. These points are not cumulative. The bottom center of the card shows the habitat pattern that needs to be created in order to place this animal and the token the animal can be placed on. This little icon to the side is a reminder of the token type. Only 1 animal can be placed on a token. The second and final optional action is to place animals onto a habitat on your player board. You may perform this action multiple times on your turn at any time. The placement requirements are as follows. The habitat pattern must be created exactly on your personal board as depicted on the card. However, it can be oriented any direction. The height of the trees and mountains must exactly match what is shown on the card. The token on which the animal cube is to be placed within the habitat must be unoccupied. Buildings can be of any type. As long as the top token matches, you have the correct pattern for that animal's habitat. A well-placed token can result in the opportunity to place multiple animals. This placement is final, even if the habitat around this animal changes on subsequent turns. When all cubes of an animal card are placed in a habitat, the card is moved to the side of the player board and no longer counts against your 4 animal card limit. At the end of your turn, draw 3 tokens from the pouch and refill the central board. Refill the row of animal cards if needed, so that there are 5 face-up cards. Play continues in clockwise order until one of two endgame conditions are met. The pouch is empty when you need to refill the central board, or at the end of your turn, there are two or less unoccupied spaces on your personal board. End the current round so that all players have an equal number of turns. Tally the points for the landscapes you created and the animals you placed. The player with the most points wins the game. In case of a tie, the player who has placed the most animal cubes wins. In the event of another tie, players share the victory. When you're ready for a little bit more of a challenge, flip to the B side of the player boards. This introduces islands. Additionally, you can add nature's spirit cards. Now you're ready to create some beautiful habitats. It's all about creating patterns, allowing you to place more than one animal into a habitat. Be sure to check out its page on BoardGameGeek.com. Hope you enjoyed this video. For Board Game Geek, I'm Nikki Pontius.